Hello, everybody. It's Drama Free Friday. And guess what? It's not only Drama Free Friday, it's Friday the 13th. Yes, it is. Now, I want everybody to cross their fingers and toes that Drama Free Friday on Friday the 13th indeed stays drama free. Hello, Sherry. How are you? It's good to see everybody coming in. Come on in. Hi, Ruth. I'm going to just take a second. Hey, Lynn. Take a second. Let everybody kind of make their way into the chat if they wish. Hi, Jerry. Jerry says she didn't even know it was Friday the 13th. I probably shouldn't have said anything. I should have kept my mouth shut. But, you know, heck, I never was one to keep my mouth shut. We all know that. Hey, Nancy from Mexico. Wow, welcome. Hi, Danielle. Hi, Carla. So great. Hey, well, Cat Hand, nice to see you, my friend. You haven't been here before, but I watch your videos. Your videos are great. I really enjoy watching your videos. So welcome. I'm glad to see you in the audience. Hey, Deb. Hi, Lori. Oh, we got a great group coming in. Hi, Margaret. APG Jamie. Hi, Deborah. Yeah, it's your first time? Great. That's wonderful, Kat. Jamie, your video that I watched this morning on the bud box was cracked me up. If you guys don't subscribe, I know I say this pretty much every week, but it's because I watch her while I'm getting ready. When she puts up a video, it usually pops up on my list on Fridays. If you don't watch APG Jamie's videos, if you want to put a smile on your face, tune in to her and subscribe to her channel. I'm not kidding you. YouTube channel, APG Jamie. Hi, Kasha. Hi, Beverly. Oh, my gosh. Hi, Lisa. You guys, what a great group we got coming in. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy you're here. It's going to be a fun day today, you guys. It is going to be too much fun. Kat says she's enjoyed my paste paper videos. Oh, good. I'm so glad. Race is not here. Okay. Race is not here. That's what he just said in the chat. And for any of you that are watching the recording, welcome. I'm glad that you're watching us. Race is known as the technical department, and but he's not here. Okay, hi Jessica. Just saying hello to everybody as I see you pop in the chat. So anyway, today is going to be fun. It's going to be a special day. I have a lot of, as I've told you many times, there are a lot of moving parts going on. So everybody cross your fingers and toes that I don't screw it up. Because there's always that chance. It could happen. It absolutely could. We're going to try not to. Anyway, so what's going to happen here today is we have a special guest. We've done this before, but we're going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to introduce my special guest. Many of you already know who she is. I'm going to introduce her in a second. And if you want to play along with us and not just watch us, I'm going to give you a list real quick here of some things that you can jot down and you can go pull from your art supplies or wherever you are if you want to play with us. So here's the list, and then I'll go over it another time. And if somebody in the chat, let's see, maybe Ruth, who's in the chat, maybe Ruth could type in the things as I'm saying them. How about that? Because then you guys would, and Ruth, if you don't want to do it, somebody else will do it. I don't care how many of you type it in, really. Anyway, paint or inks, 3 to 5 colors. Okay? Paint or inks, 3 to 5 colors. Stamps of some kind, your favorite stamps, 2 or 3. You don't need to get out your whole library of stamps. Stencils, a couple stencils. Collage papers like tissue or paper napkins or book text or whatever of that sort. And then some kind of pens like paint pens, markers, anything like that. Okay, so let me go through the list again. So paint or inks, 3 to 5 colors. Some kind of stamps, some kind of stencils, some kind of collage paper, thin type collage paper would be great. You don't want anything too thick. And then some kind of pens or markers. Okay? Is that easy? Yeah, Pavla says a couple of stencils. Pavla could take her the rest of the broadcast to choose her stencils. I'm just saying, she has the most. Pavla has a streams occasionally on Ustream. Haven't seen her for a while, but she does the most incredible stencils I have ever seen, and the hand cutting she's done of stencils. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness! It will take her the rest of the time to choose her stencils. I'm just sure of it. Okay, so let me read through the list just one more time, and then we're going to crack on here. And Ruth is putting those, and some of the different people are putting those in the chat for me. Thank you so much. So paint or inks, 3 to 5 colors, some stamps, some stencils, some collage papers, and some pens or markers. And then we'll see. We may deviate from the list. I'm just saying. You just never know what could happen around here. Yes, Pavla is Jennifer. Yes, she is. Yes, Pavla is Jennifer. Race knows. All right. So, all right. Whoop, are we still here? Yes. Okay. All of a sudden I had a little hiccup. So these are the words that I think of when I think of Shannon Green, who is going to join me here shortly. And these are the words I think of, because I was jotting these down yesterday when I was just kind of preparing myself for thinking about what how I was gonna introduce her to an audience that I think most of you probably know Shannon and probably watch her YouTube videos and so forth, but or read her blog and all that kind of stuff. And if you look in the description box below the video, there's the whole list of all the ways that you can get in touch with her and how you can support her. So that's in the description box below the video. All right. So anyway, I was just kind of chatting in my head. Do any of you guys do that? Chat in your head? I know that sounds weird, but I have conversations with myself, myself, and I. We all chat. And so yesterday I was thinking about this. Quite honestly, I was cleaning house and I was trying to avoid thinking about cleaning house because it's not my favorite activity, so I was lost in thought about other things. So I was carrying around a piece of paper and a pen with me, and every time I'd think of something, I'd have to stop and write it down. Anyway, I digress. So I was thinking about the words that spring to mind when I think about Shannon. And the very first one, and maybe this is because she's from the South, I don't know. Maybe this is just because, it's just the first one that springs to mind, is gracious. I find Shannon to be a very gracious person. I find her to be very supportive of other people. She's highly complimentary. If you have ever watched any of her Happy Mail videos when she opens boxes from other people, sometimes I see her, and she likes to open them as she's recording, and I'm like, oh, she's brave, because I'm telling you, I love Happy Mail, but there's sometimes I've opened a few things and I've thought, well, I'm not quite sure what that is or what to do with it. Well, she opens them on the recording, and she comes up with something every single time that she can use a supply for, or a thing that somebody has sent to her. It just always amazes me. And she's so highly complimentary and encouraging to other people. And the two things I think about Shannon is that, number one, she's real, and number two, I see her and sense her level of integrity and honesty. So anyway, now let me tell you that, and the biggest thing that I think about Shannon is she doesn't take herself too seriously. And I think that is the biggest thing that any of us could take into our thoughts. Don't take yourself too seriously. So anyway, let me take just a quick second and welcome everybody that's here. Thank you so much for being here. The chat is moving quickly, and so I'm not going to call out any other particular names, but just know that you're welcome here in the live chat, and I'm happy that you're here. So I've introduced Shannon, and I've said all these nice things about her, and she didn't pay me a dime to say any of that. Not a dime, I'm telling you. So without further ado, let me see if I can make this transition happen seamlessly. If I screw it up, I'll do it again, okay? There she is. Miss Shannon, are you here?
Am I on?
You're live, girlfriend.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. I was telling my husband last night that I don't know, a couple years ago, I think it was. I'm starting to talk like you.
It's contagious. Yeah.
It is. I was telling him that a couple of years ago, I think I started watching your videos, and it just was enthralled with the various kinds of art projects that you do, and so many of them that I was just fascinated by and inspired by. And and it never occurred to me that we would be able to do this together. And if it wasn't for the technical department who helped us out even a little bit this morning, it wouldn't have been able to be possible. So anyway, it's so fun for me to have you join me. And so thank you for doing this.
Oh, it's my pleasure. This is like the coolest thing ever. Ever. I am super excited about this.
Good. And so are you able to see the chat? Are you able to monitor the chat?
I am. Okay. If my eyeballs are over here, I'm looking at the chat. Right. I see all the highs. Hi. Right. Okay. I probably won't be able to type in the chat because I'd have to reach and it would be weird.
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah. So that's good.
I'm watching.
Okay, cool. Because, and the same thing with me. When I'm looking here, I'm looking into a camera. When I'm looking here, I'm watching the chat. When I'm looking here, I'm looking at Shannon. So I had somebody leave me a comment one time on a YouTube video that said if I'd spend less time looking at the monitor, this was on a YouTube thing, said if I'd spend less time looking at the monitor, I could get done quicker. I said, well, thank you for that.
I had one tell me one time, if you wouldn't talk so much, your videos would be shorter.
Yeah, exactly.
And my response was, and you know what? If I talk more, they'll be longer.
Yeah, exactly.
Funny how that works.
It's funny. All right. I got to keep the throat wet, otherwise I can't talk. All right. So, what we're going to do, and you agreed to play along with this insanity. You and I are going to drag out some art supplies and some stuff, and we're going to just create some paper. All right, if you're game.
I'm ready.
You're game? Okay.
I'm on it.
You're readier than I am because I got the paper. I'm going to have to dig for the paints, but I'm going to do that while I get you talking. Okay. How's that? So what we're going to do, people, in the chat people, is I just have a piece of paper that is 11 by 14, and what I'm working on is Canson mixed media paper. What are you working on, Shannon?
I am working on Comcast Xfinity Flyer.
There you go. You are the queen of recycle. I'm telling you, you are the queen of recycle. I love that. And so we're going to just make paper and see what shows up, how it turns out, and then we'll figure out what to do with it later. Because here's another one. I'm telling you, I got these things. Me, myself, and I were having this conversation yesterday as I was cleaning the house, which I don't do very often, by the way, but I have company coming this weekend, so I had to. You got to get the scum off the surfaces. And I thought, one of my favorite things about Shannon is not only her ability to make something from anything, but just the whole concept of let's just go for it and see what happens. And by the way, it doesn't have to be something when it's over. And I love that because I totally agree with that. I don't have any compulsion to make something out of this paper. I may just keep it and tack it up on the wall and go, I really like that. Mm-hmm. Right? So
yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. All right. Well, let me pause for a second and see if you have any things. Jean hates YouTube chat. Sorry, Jean. It's the way it is. I can't do anything about it. Make it any better at this problem. So anyway, it's great to have everybody here, and I don't see any questions. If you do have questions, put them in the chat in caps, and that way it will cue one of us that we have a question. Okay, so I'm going to start you out with something, and then I'm going to dig for paint. So I'm going to be looking back here getting paint out. But what I want to know is, what is your earliest memory? We're going to see how long you can remember What's your earliest memory of being creative?
My earliest memory of being creative. Okay. Well, like, I'm aware that we did little artsy craftsy things in grade school. I don't actually remember doing those things, but my mom has a box full of the evidence in the attic, so apparently I did.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of that. Really, the earliest. Okay, how about this? How about when I realized that I liked being creative, that I could do it, that I enjoyed it? I remember that clearly because I was about 13 or 14. And I started watching this woman. She had this television show, and I was just fascinated by everything that she was doing. And she was brand new. I'd never heard of her, and her name was Martha Stewart. Yeah.
It's brand new.
I was on the waiting list to subscribe to her magazine before it came out.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow.
I was a total Martha fan.
Yeah.
In, junior high and high school.
Yeah.
So, but she did a lot of, I remember one episode, she took some brown packing paper and she threw paint on it and made it into wrapping paper, which was crazy. Like, who did that? That just spoke to me.
Yeah.
And then...
what was she doing with the packing paper? What'd she do with it?
She threw paint on it.
Okay.
Just paint. Just she went all Jackson Pollock all over it, let it dry, and then used it for gift wrapping paper.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which I thought was just totally inspired.
Yeah.
And
so you were in junior high?
That was junior high is my first memory of that.
Yeah.
And then that is, to answer your question, that's probably my earliest memory of starting to do creative things. I realized that I could. I realized that I enjoyed it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So did you actually do the brown paper thing?
Well, heck yeah, I did. I had my mother go out and buy me some packing paper, and I threw paint on it.
That's
and
cool.
I'm sure I wrapped something with it.
When I'm older than you are, so I was not in junior high when when I first became aware of Martha Stewart.
Right.
But I really enjoyed watching her television show back then, and our son was still at home. I don't remember how old he was, but he was still at home then. And she was doing all this gardening stuff, she had all these fancy gardens and stuff, that she was showing that particular day. And his comment was, he said, "Wouldn't you hate to be her neighbor?" And I've never forgotten that because I thought that really is funny, because don't you know that her neighbors are going, I need a staff of gardeners too, Yeah. Yeah, Sandy Jones says, you and Martha have come a long way.
We have, and yeah, I tell you, I idolized her when I was younger, and wanted to be just like her, and thank God that wore off pretty fast.
You have to get over it. You have to get over it. I'm telling you. But I think one of the things she did for me, and she personally didn't do it. It was just the concept of it. It allowed me to feel good about keeping a home. And it kind of, because at that particular point in time, that was very frowned upon. Everybody, every woman was at that point in time during that, for me, if you didn't work, you weren't legitimate. You just a stay-at-home mom, a stay-at-home whatever, mom, dad, or whomever, was looked down upon. And so for me, that was helpful for me, but
Yes, she did a good thing for us.
She did, yeah. Might not have for anybody else, but she did for you and me. So that's all about that. Okay, so we're gonna sling some paint, huh?
Paint. Okay, right. Yes, I got paint.
You got paint. All right. Well, let's start slinging some paint. So, all right. And then I'm gonna ask you another question. Can you talk and paint at the same time?
We're gonna find out.
I'll tell you what colors I'm using, and then you can maybe tell them kind of what your thought is.
Okay.
And let me see if I can do this. We're gonna find out whether I can do this. Woo! Look at that! Look at that! I got that.
Look at you go.
I made it happen. Now, I might not be able to make it happen again, but I got it this time. Okay, so
cool.
I've got bright aqua green. These are basics, Liquitex basics. So I've got bright aqua green. I've got brilliant yellow green. And I've got light blue permanent. And then, of course, I got to have something shocking in here. So I have a De La Rowney System 3 fluorescent pink. So those are the ones that I'm going to be messing around with here. And I'm going to use a scraper. And then I'm going to just see what happens. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
Okay.
So why don't you tell them what you're going to do?
I have got, okay, I might have gone over our agreed upon paint limit.
That's all right. I don't care. I don't care.
I have got a DecoArt Crafters Acrylic Dark Turquoise.
Cool.
An Americana Dioxazine Purple.
Mm-hmm.
And, Americana Neon in Thermal Green.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I have a black and a white and a couple of backup colors in case I get bored with these.
Yeah, I forgot about the black and white. I may have to be dragging those out here in a minute too.
Yeah.
Now, are you doing something with DecoArt, or did you tell me?
Okay. Well, I'm on their what do they call it? Blogger outreach program.
Okay.
Which just floors me because I'm not an art craft blogger. You know.
You do have a blog, but
yeah. So I don't really blog. I mean, I have the blog, and occasionally I will post to it, but it's just not my thing. Videos are so much easier. Blogging, oh my gosh, taking the pictures, editing them, uploading them,
details,
writing the copy. It takes forever.
Yeah.
You know, I can knock out a video a lot faster.
You got to really want to say something to do the blog, right?
Yes, you do. You really have to be dedicated.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what they call it, their blogger outreach program. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, they sent me a box of free stuff to use. And then I'm just supposed to blog about it. And, you know, every time they say blog in my mind, I just scratch that out and think video. Okay. And, and they seem to be okay with that.
Sherry L says she's in the outreach program too, so that's cool. Are others of you in the chat? In the Deco? Is it DecoArt?
It's DecoArt. Okay. They have that. They have the Helping Artists program too, and they've recently made some changes to that. They're not quite as. It's a little more restrictive than it used to be, I think.
Okay. Cool. All right.
But yeah, there are options.
Cool. All right. So now we know what we're doing. Are you going to be scraping paint, or are you using a brush, or what?
I am using my really pathetic, chippy, weird brush thing, but I have a backup.
That poor thing has seen better days. Oh, cool. Okay, so time for another question. Let me see what else I want to ask you. If you guys have questions that you want me to ask, Kat wants to know if we're covering the page completely. It just totally depends on what you want to do, but I'm probably going to cover the page completely. What about you, Shannon?
Well, since you're probably going to cover the page completely, I will not. Just be different.
Okay, that's good. So basically, take your pick, whatever you want to do. So you were talking about, you probably kind of already answered this, but hey, I'm going to ask it anyway.
Okay. So
you were like in junior high when you sort of, have your first real creative, like, aha kind of moment.
Exactly.
So how did your family deal with that? I don't even know much about your family. If you came from a big family, small family, or whatever, which is totally, doesn't matter, but I'm just saying.
Right.
Was your family supportive of your creative stuff, or did they make fun of you, or, kind of how did they handle your creative endeavors?
I had a small nuclear family, I guess, whatever. I just have one sister and my mom and dad. And they were together. They got divorced, but I was already grown when they did. So, we had the from the outside looking in, looked like the just perfect little traditional family. But oh my gosh, the dysfunction. Like what went on behind closed doors would make your hair stand on end.
We just aren't going to talk about it now, are we?
No, we're not. So, yeah, it was weird. But I have to say, okay, my mom did not like a mess in the house.
Oh, boy.
Yes. When you're a crafty person, a mess kind of comes with the territory. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's funny that she didn't like a mess in the house because she never cleaned the house in her entire life. We had a housekeeper 3 days a week.
I see.
So I don't know what was up with her not liking the mess because it made more work for the housekeeper.
That's just in my dreams,
Yeah, exactly. But so yes, she would get testy when I would do things that kind of made a mess. But she never discouraged me. She never made fun. She never criticized. Now, even to this day, when I make stuff, she'll go, well, what is it?
What are you going to do with it?
What are you going to do with it?
What are you going to do with it?
But then she'll take a picture, or I'll send her a picture, and she'll send it to all of her friends. Look what my daughter made. I don't know what it is, or I don't know what you do with it, but isn't it awesome?
But she made it, and it's cool. That's really nice, though. That's really nice.
She is supportive in her own way. They all are.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I have to tell you what my dad said, just since we're sharing about, things like that.
Right.
And I know you're not interviewing me, but hey, I can't resist.
But I am nosy, so go ahead.
Yeah. So I was a doll maker for a long time, which I know. Don't freak out and don't leave because I said that. Word. Yeah, don't
you promise me no dolls.
No, I am not going to. I'm just going to talk about them. Will that freak you out too?
No,
if I just talk about
good.
it? Okay.
I'm good with that.
So I had made this one doll, and she was a pattern by an artist, a doll artist named Eleanor Peace Bailey. And Eleanor's dolls are pretty. A lot of them have kind of androgynous characteristics in the face and so forth. They're very out there kinds of dolls. And so I had taken a class with her, and I'd made this doll named the Queen Maureen. And I was so proud of this doll because I was brand spanking new doll maker. And I ended up with this doll that was, it was something. And and it looked cool, and it was so different from anything that I'd ever tried. I'd done mostly doll clothes or baby doll, play doll kinds of things, and this was like an art doll. It used different colors and patterns all mixed up together, and it and she was all dressed in frog fabric, which I thought was funny that the queen, was dressed in frog fabric, and maybe no one else saw the humor, but I did,
But you were dying.
I just loved it, And so I was so proud of this doll, and she even had a gold lame crown on her head. I mean, that puppy was not easy to make, And I was so proud of it. So I took her over. My parents lived across town from me, and so I took her over so they could see her. And my dad, and she was a big doll. She was probably 21, 22 inches tall. And she was, I put her on their entertainment center. And my mom was very complimentary, and so, happy that I had this experience and all, and because it was my first real class with someone who was a bona fide, outside, famous doll maker. And she was real complimentary about it and asked me all about the class and all that. My dad looked at her and she says, well, I sure am glad I don't have to look at that thing every day.
No.
He did. He said that. Okay, now I hate to, I'm just going to tell you the rest of the story. Years.
Yeah, you have to. Now you're locked in. Go ahead.
I know. Years later, I had given this doll to someone else, and then that relationship with this person who was, we were friends, and we kind of had, sometimes friendships just kind of die off.
Yeah.
And that happened, and it was no big whoop. Mr. Victor just joined the group. Hey, Victor.
Hey, Victor. I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, so good to you got two of us in one spot, Victor. Can you handle it? Can you handle it? All the way from Ukraine. I mean,
it's
really.
It's a good day in Ukraine.
I'll tell you. So all these years later, that, because I tired of the doll, and I was literally gonna get rid of it, and I ended up giving it to this friend of mine, and the friendship kind of, fizzled out, and and so I never thought another thing about that doll, not one more thing. Well, it turns out that about 6 months down the road, after, well, maybe it was probably more like a year and a half after that kind of all fizzled out, I was with a creative group that I was a part of and very active with. And one of the gals in the group said, "Oh, I've got something for you." And she said, "I have a gift for you." That's what it was. And I said, "You what?" And she said, because that was not what this group did. We created together. We didn't give each other stuff. And she said, "Yeah, I've got a gift for you." And I said, okay. And she goes out to her car, and here she comes with the Queen Maureen. That someone else that I hardly even knew had found her in the Salvation Army. So,
oh my God.
So she had been donated to the Salvation Army, and this other person had bought her back and somehow connected me with, this was like a convoluted path that this Queen Maureen took to get back to me. Now, she was quite shop-worn by the time I got her and quite bedraggled looking, and I'm like, I was speechless. And I looked at her and I thought, you know what? My dad was right. I can't stand looking at that old thing every day. I just can't.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
It was a riot. So, yeah.
Talk about, it's like the 6 degrees of Maureen the Queen.
Exactly. It's exactly what happened. It's exactly. Okay. So I got to finish my one color. You're all done with your paint, right? Of course you are.
I'm all done with what I'm going to do for now.
All right.
Put it that way.
Okay. Well, give me 1 second while I talk at you a minute.
Yeah.
So one more question for you.
Okay.
Have you had any formal art classes?
No, none. I never even took an art class in high school.
Yeah, I took one in high school and about failed it, and that just about scarred me for life. So do you have any desire to take any formal art classes?
Honestly, I really don't.
Yeah. Tell me why. Any reason? Or just because?
I don't know. Nothing about them appeals to me.
Uh-huh.
Okay, first of all, I have a little bit of a rebellious side.
I never noticed that. I never noticed that about you.
Yeah. I don't like being told what to do or how to do it.
You know what? I don't like being judged.
I don't like
graded,
that either.
Graded, I guess, is the appropriate term there.
Right. I don't, and a lot of people do that. They thrive on a good, helpful critique, and it helps them to grow and to change.
Yeah.
I don't, because I don't care what you think about what I just did. I honestly do not care, because I didn't make it for you.
Right. You made it for yourself, right?
I made it for myself and for the joy of making it. So a critique does me absolutely no good whatsoever.
So do you do most of your creativity for yourself first? Because I know you film hundreds of videos, so you let all of us in on your creative process. But do you think that you do it for yourself first?
I do it for myself first.
Good.
And I it's the process that I'm craving, just the doing. And then I like sharing it.
Okay.
So that's, yeah.
And pardon me while
I think an art class would benefit me.
Well, yeah, there's, I would take art classes if I could audit them. It's truly that grading thing. I'm like, nope. Yeah. I am way too old for you to give me a grade on what I do. Right?
Exactly. Kind of reminds me of that conversation we had yesterday about the mom and that's exactly where I'm going.
Yeah. All right. So, the audio is driving you guys crazy?
Uh-oh.
We're looking good here. Everything on my end is looking okay. Is Race still in the... is the technical department still monitoring? just checking to see if he's monitoring. If he is, he'll pop in and tell us. Everything is looking good on my end, so I don't know what's going on. The good news is, because I'm recording, when it goes up on YouTube, when the recording is available, then you shouldn't have any problems. So, anyway, I don't see Race in the chat. He'll show up if he has a chance. Okay, so we're going to keep on going here. And whatever happens, happens. Yep. You know, sometimes stuff happens, and I almost said something bad. Okay, so... All right, so I'm going to... let's see if I can do this. What did he tell me to do? Speaker view. Okay. No, gallery view. No, that's what we're doing here. Sorry. Let me just digress for a minute.
Go ahead.
Whoops. Here we go. Okay. Now, I got you in the big screen.
Oh, I'm on the big screen.
You're in the big screen. You want to show us what you're doing? Show us what you got done so far. Hold her up. Okay, cool. Yep, you got it. So what colors are you using? You use green and turquoise and
purple.
Purple. Okay.
Purple, green, turquoise.
Okay. All right. So, and here's mine. So I'm just going to hold it up rather than change cameras at the moment. Just holding it up so you guys can see.
I love that.
So it's a little wackadoo. A little wackadoo, but you know. Hey,
it works.
It does. It works okay. All right. Let me get back to, there we go. Whew, I did it.
Hey, here's a question. When did I start mixed media?
Yeah. Good.
Back before I knew that it was called mixed media. I didn't realize I was doing mixed media. No, I started. Skip from the junior high Martha Stewart obsession to 1991 when Taylor was born. And she turned a year old, and I was still watching Martha Stewart at that time. And she'd been using some rubber stamps. Ooh, yeah. These were new to me. This was a whole new thing, rubber art stamps. So I thought, oh, this is awesome. I will, for her 1 year birthday, I will go buy some rubber stamps, and I will make, little invitations and decorations and the wrapping paper, and I'll save so much money because we're, newly married. We've got this little baby.
How much money did you spend to save money?
Oh, a fortune and a half. But by gosh, it was fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I learned real quick that DIY does not always equal cheap.
So that's how you got into mixed media.
That's how I started rubber stamping.
Okay.
Got together with a group of rubber stampers, and then back in the day, I had a couple of cards published in Somerset Studio.
Did you really?
Yeah, did that whole thing. Cool. This was back, Taylor's 25, so this is 24 years ago.
Okay.
So did that whole thing, and it's just a natural progression, and a lot of card members, this happens to them too, or card makers will eventually start kind of traveling into the mixed media. It's just kind of a progression that a lot of them do, because you just start trying new and different things. So yeah, this was mid-90s. We started doing more mixed media type things and assemblage, altered stuff, altered books just came out. So we were doing altered books, altered bottles, altered this, altered that. So it was about mid-90s.
One of my favorite things about what you do is that you mix things that I would, let me say it a different way. You have given me the courage to mix things up that I never thought it was legal to mix, like watercolor and acrylics or things like that. It's like, because the only thing I'd ever seen with watercolors is watercolor paper and watercolors and nice brushes and me, myself, and we go get praying watercolors and other kids' watercolor kind of supplies, and that's what I like to play with. First of all, I like the colors, and I like playing with that, and so it's just like you've given me the courage to do that, so I appreciate that.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah, I really do.
And see, that's another reason why I would not do well in an art class, because they're going to tell me that I need to use watercolors on watercolor paper with this kind of brush, and I'm going to say, oh, no.
Oh, no, you don't, because I know.
Yes.
Okay, so let's move on to stamps, shall we? So we've shown you guys what we've done so far. You want to do some stamping?
Let's do some stamping.
Did you find some stamps?
I did. And, okay. You know, like I said, I started stamping in the early 90s, and back then we were avid collectors.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So you have a few,
I still have most of my collection.
Do you really? Wow.
Yeah, but we're talking thousands, like thousands.
Wow. How do you find them?
Unmounted.
How do you find them? when you want them, that's what I want to know. How do you keep track?
Some of them, I actually separated a whole bunch out that I'd intended to put on Etsy, and I still do intend to do that. Of course, I've been intending for like 2 years now.
Yeah.
So maybe someday that'll happen. And then I have just a small selection of the ones that I use most often.
Okay.
And I've got those, in drawers in my art room here. So there's a little bit of digging involved, but it's not too bad.
So what's your favorite kind of rubber stamp to use? Is it really rubber, or is it the clear stamps?
I guess because I'm kind of old school, I prefer red rubber. Not a fan of the clear ones. They are a lot easier to use as far as, positioning things just right. And storage and mounting is a lot easier than red rubber.
Yeah.
But they've definitely got their advantages, but I'm just kind of old-fashioned.
You're old school?
I'm old school.
Okay. So, I'm just stamping. I got out some inks. I got some archival inks, and I got aquamarine and black and deep purple in the, they're all the archival inks.
Okay. Well, I've got an old pad that says document stamping ink.
Well, good Lord, what era was that from?
It's vintage.
Vintage. That's a good way to say it. It's vintage.
Made by Stuart Superior.
Okay.
Yes, and I have a couple of bottles of re-inker that goes with it. And I'm telling you, the pad is good because it's like 20 years old.
Well, hey.
And yeah, the re-inker is good, so I use it. But I don't even know that it's archival, but it is permanent.
Well,
acid-free, fade-resistant for archival use. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't care, but
well,
it's permanent.
And when I'm doing mixed media stuff, I personally like to have the permanency factor, that's just me. You know, I like having stuff where I can put it down because I don't have any idea what I'm doing here. Not one clue.
No clue what you're doing, where you're going.
So I don't know what's going to happen next either, right?
Exactly.
So Sandy Jones said she saw your room tour.
I know, it's embarrassing.
Embarrassing.
It's a little embarrassing.
All right, let's stamp away and see what happens here. It's time to see if I can figure out something else to ask you. I know what I can ask you, unless there's something else you want to volunteer. I want to know, first of all, how in the world journaling by fives, if you guys don't know about journaling by fives, you're going to know about it now. How did that start? And did you have any clue whatsoever that it was going to turn into what it's turned into? Because don't you have a Facebook group or something that's dedicated to journaling by fives? Yeah.
We've branched out a little bit.
Okay.
But it started out for just journaling by fives, and it grew quickly. There was a lot of interest. And to answer the second question, did I have any idea what was going to happen? Oh, no. If I had any clue that it was going to take off like it did, I really would have put a lot more thought into it.
You would have thought it through a little bit more.
Exactly. Because I did not.
How did
I shared it just like, it was one of any other project that I shared.
So why did it start to begin with?
Okay, it started, you know what? I can't even remember my exact thought process, but it was along the lines of, I really wanted to encourage people to loosen up and not be so focused on creating an art journal full of finished pieces of art. I think that can be stifling to, every time you sit down to play, to feel like you need to have this awesome finished piece of art. That made no sense to me. So I started reading about early art journals and how they started and where they started and who started them, and some of the old masters, and like Da Vinci's sketchbooks are some of the earliest art journals. And they were not finished pieces of art. They are to us now. We look at them and go, oh, wow. But no, to him, it was all of his notes and sketches and ideas and inventions, and it just made no sense. And I'm sure he didn't realize what a thing of beauty all of that chaos was.
Yeah.
So I was inspired by that and started trying to come up with ideas for how I could help that to translate. How can you, because you can tell people to loosen up all day long. But if you don't show them how, it doesn't do any good. So I was trying to come up with some kind of a process or steps that would show people how to loosen up and have fun. And that's when I started, I just started making some journal pages and thinking, okay, how am I doing this? What would I do to make this be fun and not stressful? And that's when they were kind of born. And I got inspiration from, I had watched one of, it was Diana Trout had a video. And I can't even remember what she called it, Jumpstart into Journaling or something. And that, I got a lot of ideas from her, because that was really when I saw she was using a composition book, and she wasn't going page to page. She was like skipping 10 pages, and she would put a stamped image down. And then she would skip
legal? Is that legal to skip pages? I mean, really?
Well, I didn't think so until I saw her do it. And then she didn't make a page after she skipped all those pages. She just put one stamp down. And then she skipped a whole bunch more pages, and she put, she glued down a little collage piece. And she left it there. She didn't do anything else to it. And then she skipped some more pages, and I was just like, this light bulb went off. And I was like, yes, it's okay to do that. That's what I want. So, I was really inspired by her. And the time limit came from Ray Missigman. She does those 15 minutes
That's
of
right.
media. And I was like, all right, this girl is knocking out these fabulous pages in 15 minutes. What can I do in 15 minutes?
Well, and when you have that time limit, you can't, I got to figure out a delicate way to say this. You can't mess around. You just got to go for it.
You do. And it's so funny because it's not easy. It's not easy at all.
So what do you have to say to people? Because I've heard people say on various recordings and stuff, I've heard them say, how stressful that timing thing is for them. What do you have to say to those people to kind of encourage them a little bit?
I try to tell people not to get hung up on the timer. It's there. It's it's just natural for us to race against the clock. Right. You have a set thing that you're supposed to do and a certain time to do it, so you want to complete the task within that certain time. That's just human nature.
Sherry Whitfield says journaling by fives makes her sweat bullets.
I get it. Yeah. But it was my intention that, to have people to really struggle to finish those 20 pages in 15 minutes. And at the end, when they're not finished, be okay with it. But a lot of them, when they're not finished, they just add on extra time so that they can finish, which kind of totally defeats the point. But it's okay. They got to do it their way.
Right, exactly. I mean, the thing is that you've done is you have gotten them, you've gotten their hands moving. You've busted them out of their comfort zone and
eliminated that white page.
Yeah, and after that, it doesn't make any difference whether they follow the journaling by 5 rules. It just doesn't matter. You've inspired them to start. And I know some people, for some people that it's the very first thing that they've ever tried, as far as art journaling goes. It's the very first experience that they've had, and and so many times when people are learning and doing something for the very first time, they're so wanting to do it right. And I think I would imagine that you've had to continually encourage people that there isn't right. There's only the way.
Exactly.
That's kind of what I would think.
Exactly. And it's, everyone approaches it a little bit different. And I think most everyone who tries it gets something out of it.
Yeah.
Even if they, kind of bend the rules to suit them. You get something out of it.
Yeah.
Because it is such a different process from
Absolutely.
what we've been telling ourselves we're supposed to do.
So I believe her name is Krissa. I think that's how you say it. The gold girl from Greece sends greetings to you. Is it
we're
Krissa?
Old friends. Hey, girl.
Is her name Krissa? Do you know if that's
her name is Krissa?
Okay.
With the X, right?
Right. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, Krissa, I told her.
I cannot keep up with the chat. I see it happening, and that's it.
Yeah, I am here trying to monitor the chat and do art at the same time and carry on a relatively sane conversation, and it's tricky business. It's tricky business.
You are Wonder Woman.
Thanks, Race. Race said that feel free to invite your friends to the show, so he sent them a link so they can invite people to come.
Oh, awesome.
And jump on with us, because we'll be here for a while longer. You are here for a while with me, right?
You're not cleared my day, girl. You're going to throw me out when you're done.
I'm it, right? Okay. I was just checking to see if we had any other questions. If you guys have questions or comments specifically for one or the other of us, please put them in caps, because then one of us might see it. If not, I do have a phone, an iPhone here, and the technical department can ring me up and say, answer the question. Earlier, you guys should have been here earlier. I know you couldn't have been because we were testing, but you should have been here earlier when I was testing with Shannon to get everything set up, and I have one earbud from my phone in one ear. I have another earbud for Shannon in my other ear, and I'm testing all the stuff that's going on here. So, it's a flipping miracle. It works at all, people. It's a flipping miracle. That's all I have to say.
It was funny, and she just needs one more ear.
I do. That's what she told me. She says, you need another ear. It's like, you know what? I won't even go there. Yeah. If I had another ear, somebody put another earbud in it. That's all I'm saying. I was going to say,
if you had another ear, Race would hook up one more computer for you.
He would. Yes, the technical department would just figure out something that I needed to listen to.
Exactly. Put some music into that ear.
Put some music on, anyway. Yeah, such is life. Okay, so I guess it's time for us to take a break and show what we're doing. You still stamping there?
Yes, I'm compulsively stamping.
Okay.
I'm done now.
Okay. All right. So let's see. I'll just show mine this way, and then we'll show yours here in a second. Let me see if I can do this. Whoops. I gotta get in the right place. That will be helpful. Okay. So here's what I've done. I just have overall stamps in several different colors. The black is really jumping out. I really like this aquamarine. I should have done more of that. But it doesn't matter, because we're going to put more stuff on it, knock some of this stuff back, right?
Right.
So anyway, that's what I got going on here. And so I'm going to come over here and we'll see if I can make this happen again.
You're going to make me big?
I am. Watch out. Ta-da. There you are.
Am I big?
You're big.
Okay.
So let's see what you got going on.
I've got random...
Okay, hold it real still for a second.
Can you see that?
Yeah, but hold it still so the camera can focus. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks
And
good.
those are random Fornacetti parts and pieces from Zetiology, I think is where I got these years ago.
You're speaking in big words. Fornacetti.
Yeah, Fornacetti, who did all of the art from the one woman's face. Fascinating if you've never read about him.
No, I have not. I'm
Italian guy.
I'm illiterate when it comes to Fornacetti.
I am only Google literate.
Okay, Google is
There's
my
a
friend.
wiki out there. I look like a freaking genius.
That's right. Google is our friend.
Exactly.
APG Jamie says hers has gotten even bigger, a bigger hot mess than it was before. Good. You're right on track, Jamie. You're right on track. Okay, so do you think we're done stamping?
I think I'm done.
Okay, so we're moving on to some stencils, right? This
Stencils.
sounds remarkably like sorry,
Journaling by five.
yeah, I got a message that just popped up. Why is it that calendars think that they should alert you in the middle of a stream? I mean, come on, people. It's probably because I put it on there.
Probably because that's how you set it up.
It probably is, and darn the luck, I don't have anybody to blame. Okay, so we're going to do some stencils. How many stencils shall we do? I'm going to only dig in one box.
I pulled out 3.
Okay.
But I reserve the right to go grab another one.
Change your mind if you need to, right?
Yeah.
Pavla, start digging now. If you haven't found your stencils, you need to dig them out right quick.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't, it's going to be too late.
Sucks for you.
That's right. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna go for some stenciling, and I'm looking for. What kind of stencils do you like? Do you like patterns the best? Do you like things?
I tend to grab the ones that I have a variety, but I tend to gravitate more towards abstract background patterns and things. Like the ones I grabbed, these are the Tim Holtz. Okay. I got the Harlequin thing, and then the one with the holes. And then just to mix it up, and because I haven't used it before, this weird clock one.
Well, that's a nice one. That's a nice stencil. I don't have any of his yet. That doesn't mean I won't get some at some point. Okay, Shannon, do you make a discovery and love it, and then you can't remember? Do you make a discovery and love it, but then you can't remember how you did it? Cheryl wants to know that. Do you ever have that problem?
Story of my life.
Story of her life.
There are times, I swear, when I think, oh, this is so, and I will be actually sitting down doing it, and I'll get finished, and I'll go, this is really cool. I wish I had written down what I did while I was doing it.
That is one of the things that I find sometimes when I'm filming classes, because I'm I have to remember what I did. So, but I do find when I'm doing that and having to write down what I did, it stifles my creativity sometimes. So sometimes what I find works for me is I just have to turn loose of what the end result's going to be for, where it's headed, and just play, and then I go back and try and recreate it. And sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. Do you find that too?
Oh yeah. I've been there.
Cat Hand says that she's still using her heat gun, so she must have really put on some. She must have really put on some layers there. Okay, so I'm gonna stencil using. I'm gonna use a. Just a moment. I'll think of what it's called. Makeup sponge. With my stencils, what are you going to do?
Your stencils? Yeah. I've got like a stenciling brush like you paint on a wall with.
Yeah.
But then I've also got these 2. These are like the Judikins color dusters.
Those are cool.
That you get. Yeah, they're just like little stipple brushes. But I glued on the bottom of them a little foam spongy thing that came in some packaging.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I labeled each one of them. This is ebony. Not B, because that's blue.
Yeah.
Ebony and white. And then I have one for the whole Roy G. Biv.
Seriously, you didn't call it I for ivory? Ebony and ivory? No, you had to go ebony and white. Okay.
Oh, but I couldn't use I because of indigo.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so
Roy G. Biv,
I had to use ebony and white.
Roy G. Biv strikes again.
That's right.
If you don't know what Roy G. Biv is, that's the colors of the rainbow. or the chakras, depending on.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, and I just saw Cajun Stamper, who's Vicky. I just saw her put in a comment that she says she's had her color dusters for almost 20 years. I want to tell you something about Cajun Stamper Vicky. She racked up the courage recently to stream, and she didn't stream for very long, but she did stream. And during her stream, she showed us her en masse journal that was inspired by you, Miss Shannon. And that was so cool to see that, because I know that that she has found it challenging to get going on things. You know, that's been a real, I guess could put us back side by side so that you're not having to be
was all up close and personal.
Yeah, we didn't want to look up your nose anymore.
You look at my nose, check to see if I've missed a plucking a chin hair.
We see enough of those nostrils.
Yeah, that's enough.
Which is one of the funnier things that you do, I gotta say. You do
Well, I
some
gotta
funny
tell you
stuff.
something about Vicky Cajun Stamper.
Okay.
Back in the, I was talking about those early rubber stamping days, early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
We would go to rubber stamp conventions.
Uh-huh.
And there was one in Grapevine once or twice a year. And I met Vicky. I have known Vicky.
Did you really?
Since those early 90s days. Yeah, we go way back.
Did you guys get in trouble together?
You know what? I'm sure we probably had some fun. If I could remember that far back, I would probably be entertained by it. But heck if I know.
My husband always says to me, he says, you be careful when you go do stuff with her, whoever she is. He says, because the two of you together could kill sheep. Now, I've never killed a sheep in my entire life. And I don't even know what that means, to kill sheep.
What does that mean?
I don't know. But he also says things like, oh, it fits like a sock on a rooster, and we don't know what that means either, so,
Sock on a rooster? I've not heard those. That's fascinating.
He does have the nickname of Claus Man, though, so.
Alrighty then.
So, we just kind of... Oh, there comes Muppet. She's making her entrance, shaking her tags for everybody to hear. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's fun. I haven't ever met Cajun Stamper Vicky, so that's fun that you got to meet her.
I love her. And we have, fallen in and out of touch over the years.
Uh-huh.
And, but yeah, we were online together back in the early days when the crafters and rubber stampers would get together on Prodigy and in IRC chat rooms.
Yeah.
That was back in the day.
That was a while back, right?
That was.
She said she knew she couldn't remember that back that far either.
It's probably a good thing.
And musical scrapper Jean says she's met Vicky, and she says, and she is awesome. Awesome.
She is. I agree.
When I can't remember, it was somebody in my family. Oh, it was my I shouldn't even admit this. It was my grandson. When he was little, his favorite word was awesome. Awesome. When he was just learning to talk, it was awesome.
That's adorable.
I know, he was a cutie pie. Okay, so are you done stenciling, or are you still stenciling? Because I'm still
stenciling.
Okay, good, because I am too.
Okay, good.
I'm not very fast at this, but I'm liking how these layers are kind of doing their thing here.
I am too. I have to admit.
So, have you managed to cover up the whole background of that flyer that you were working on, or is it still
not completely?
Showing? Okay,
but it's
getting curious. I'm just curious. Are any of you guys in the chat? I know Kat is, and APG Jamie are working along with this. Are any of the rest of you? Krista wants to watch me painting. She wants me to hit my magic button so they can watch me paint. Okay, Krista. I can make that happen, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to have to still listen to Shannon answer questions here. All right, let me see if I can make the magic happen. Okay, here we go. All right, so I still kind of need to stay in the picture just so that I can still talk to Shannon, because talking to my hands might get a little creepy.
It's a little weird.
Might get a little creepy. Okay, so what else do I want to ask you? I know what I want to ask you. I want to ask you about Inspiration Conspiracy.
Oh, good. I like talking about that.
So tell me more about, because I know that I think I've watched all the Inspiration Conspiracy. I won't say hops. Yeah, thank you. The word, the hops that you guys have done, and tell me how, what was the brain fart that started that? Because I'm assuming it just like popped in your head one day. Is that anything like accurate?
Pretty much, yeah. It was, I was a member of another Facebook collaborative group that was doing collaborations, but it wasn't really, I was kind of disappointed in how it was not as beneficial for the smaller channels as it was for the larger ones.
Okay.
And that just kind of bugged me. Mm-hmm. And so I was really trying to put some effort into thinking up a way that there could be some sort of a collaborative effort that would benefit the smaller channels specifically.
So why is your heart so much with the smaller channels? Because I think that's really cool, but there had to have been something that, kind of like started that for you. Like what's that about? I'm kind of always, it's just my nature to be, to root for the underdog. Mm-hmm. That's it. But I don't know about you, but I was small once. Yeah, I was going to say, did you feel like that because you started out?
It's everybody was small once.
Right.
And the crafting community on YouTube is I believe is overall in general very helpful and supportive. But for most people starting out, there's still kind of that feeling that you don't know what you're doing and you don't have anyone to ask. Mm-hmm. Most people who start out just jump in, try it, and just float around and figure things out. And because I didn't have anybody to ask.
Or not. Or not.
Exactly.
If it was up to me to figure everything out, it would be or not.
Or not. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and I remember thinking, gosh, it sure would be nice to have someone to be able to ask, because you can't contact YouTube directly, and the forums are just crazy. So it was kind of all that together, wanting to give these smaller channels a chance, and I've really gotten passionate about it. And I always tell them, I can share my viewers with your channel. I can get them to go and visit your channels, because fortunately I have the best viewers on YouTube. I'm just convinced they are awesome.
You have the best viewers. Okay.
I have the best viewers on YouTube.
Well, at least you're not
I'm aware that they watch other channels, and and I don't own them, but in my heart I do. They're mine. But they're always willing to go check out these new channels, and I tell the new channels I can ask them to go check you out, but I can't make them stay. And I can't make them subscribe.
Right.
That is completely up to you.
Right.
And I'm very picky about the channels that I choose. I do hand pick the channels that I select, and I don't take requests. If you ask me if you can be in the next hop, I'm going to politely tell you, I'll keep an eye on your channel, but I have to select you. You can't request.
Right.
And I just look for channels that are making an effort. They are uploading regularly. They're really trying and just doing what they can to grow their channels. And those are the ones I want to work with. They don't have to have perfect, polished videos or anything.
So how many blog hops do you do? Is there a set number that you try and do a year?
Yes, I do them about every 2 to 3 months. Okay. So about quarterly.
Okay.
And I've done 4. And I set up a private Facebook group for each one of them, and I give them different names so I can tell them apart. Of course, the first group was Genesis. And then I had all these ideas about how I wanted to do this after the hop ended. I was just going to disband them and move on. And they were like, oh no, we are not disbanding.
We're not going anywhere. So just get
so
busy.
I had to kind of change my plans. And so the second group I created was called Lazarus, because I had intended to kill it off, and it rose back up.
And you raised it from the dead, huh?
Raised it from the dead.
Okay.
So the third group was Trinity. The fourth one was Tetra. And the fifth one, the hop will be on June the 30th, and that group is called Lustrum.
Lustrum? What does that mean?
Lustrum means a group of a 5-year, it's an old Greek term.
So you got to explain it to me, Lucy. You got to explain it to me.
Yeah. So
well, that's cool.
I really, really, really love doing it. And it just jazzes my socks off to watch those channels grow.
And so that one's coming up when? When's it starting, you said, in
June the 30th will be the next Inspiration Conspiracy Hop.
Okay, cool.
And after each group hops, we have another group, an alumni group, where all the graduates go, and then they can organize their own collaborations and events and things amongst themselves.
Oh, that's nice. So your point of doing this whole thing is just to grow, to help them grow and launch them. You don't want to be the mom forever. In other words, you want them to launch off into their own thing. Basically, all I'm doing is giving them a chance. Yeah.
I can't hold their hand for the rest of the time. Once the hop is over, they can go into the alumni group and do their own thing. But I keep an eye on stuff over there, but I don't mother them.
You're not the mom.
Yeah, I give them the opportunity, give them introduce them, but then what they do from then on out is up to them. And I'm always available if they have questions, if YouTube questions or anything. I'm always available for that.
Yeah, that's great.
No, I don't do the hand-holding deal.
Yeah. So I'm just going to let this be where everybody can kind of see what I'm doing here. And let me check the chat. Jamie says she's starting to like her hot mess. And she said she was, Jamie says, that's me, Lazarus.
Yes, Jamie was in my Lazarus group. And, who else? Sherry Whitfield, she's Genesis.
Okay. Wow, I'm impressed that you can remember. That's great.
There's probably several other. Diane Packard-I is also Genesis.
And that was the one that Mike Deacon was in,
Mike
right?
Deacon, yes. That was the very first one. And they really kind of helped me figure the whole thing out. And how it works is there's always a group of 13. No more, no less. 13.
13's
and 9 of them are smaller channels. They have to have under 1,000 subscribers. And then the other 3 plus me are larger channels, and larger is just a channel that has kind of been out there and knows what they're doing. The subscriber number doesn't matter. We've had, I think when Mike was probably the smallest host channel when he first did it, and I think he had maybe 3,000 subscribers. And then a couple months ago, we had Lindsay Wyrick, who's got 200,000. So
yeah, she's really got the subscriber base out there, doesn't she?
Yeah, and it's just the way it works. There's a rotation list that I'm, it's set up in a specific way.
Sure.
Where the host channels send their viewers to these smaller channels just to give them a chance.
That's great. Somebody asked me where I got my stencils, and truthfully, I get them. Whoops! I guess I could talk to you. There you go. I'm looking at the camera talking, and nobody can see me. I truthfully get them wherever I find them. Now, how stupid an answer is that? But it's just the truth.
That's a lot of help, Barb.
I know. That's what I said. It was stupid. I admitted it. I admitted it straight up. It was stupid. There is a store that's not too far from me that has mixed media and scrapbooking supplies, and she's getting more and more into mixed media all the time. She's not a big store, but it's called Soul Sentiments, and she has a pretty good line of stencils, so I buy a lot of stencils from her. Tuesday morning, I have one of those locally, and it's a real crapshoot, but once in a while there will be, stencils there that I find, in that place. Sometimes I order them. A lot of times I use found objects as stencils. The ones I'm using here today are ones that I purchased. Let's see, where else have I found them? Sometimes garage sales. You'll find them, where people are cleaning out their stash, or sometimes I've traded stencils with, somebody that is like they're tired of what they've got, so I trade with them. We'll trade 6 stencils or something. So, yeah. Okay, Packer Di has to run and go do the school run, so it's good to see you, Di. Thanks for coming.
Later, girly.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, any other questions? If I missed anything, put it back in the chat again. So are you still stenciling over there?
I'm done now. I just had to get my last one on there real quick.
Okay. All right. So what are we doing after this? We're doing collage papers. We're going to put some collage on top of this. This is going to be kind of fun. I think I'm going to go with transparent type stuff. Do you want to
see my thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Wait a minute. We got to see it closer up. Holy moly. Wait a minute. I got to work the magic. This is a lot of stress making this magic. Okay, we see it. Put it up there again so we get a good look.
Are we good?
Yeah, I like how the background, some of that background text is still peeking through from the original flyer.
I do
and
too.
Stuff. That is
got
neat.
Some depth happening.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like a ready-made layer, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so I didn't tell you I was going to ask about this, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
Ooh, we're going off the pre-approved list.
We are. We're going off. We're going straight off. So I noticed in your list of links that you sent to me, I noticed that you have a Patreon. I don't know if the term is page or account, or I don't know the proper terminology, but you have a Patreon thing.
Yeah,
Let's
I have
say
a Patreon thing.
So tell me about Patreon and what motivated you to do that, and if you find that difficult to keep up with, or how, all that kind of stuff. I don't care. Talk about it.
Okay. Unemployment motivated me to do that.
Okay.
I'd heard about it, and I think I even signed up for a little account. It's easy to sign up, and then ignored it because it's what I do. And then I saw, who was it? Cece, Creation Cece. Mm-hmm. She made a video and started talking about it, and I was like, maybe I could try that. Didn't expect anything to happen. So I did. I set it up, and you have to kind of advertise it, which it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable asking people to support you or, whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. It shouldn't be uncomfortable, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so I did it, and then I made the video, and then I got some supporters, which is great. So, and what it is, it's just a way for, it's for, I don't know if it's exclusively YouTube artists or mainly YouTube artists, but it's very YouTube centered, where if you are a content creator on YouTube, the people who watch you can support you on Patreon by pledging a certain dollar amount month to month. It's a monthly thing.
Okay.
And you can offer different rewards for those pledges. If someone offers a certain, $10 a month or whatever, then you can agree to give them, you can send them stuff, you can create special content for them, digital downloads, whatever.
Do you
So,
find,
you get a little something.
do you find that stressful to keep up with, or is it easy?
It is stressful for me, and I have not done well with it like I wanted to, because I envisioned that I was going to make all of these great Patreon-only videos for my supporters, and, to show appreciation for how awesome they are. Okay, I've done one.
I've done one.
Typical Shannon fashion, all of those great intentions not panning out. Now, I do send the rewards. I do one-time rewards, when you pledge an amount. I've managed to keep up pretty well with sending stuff out, because I send them some painted papers and things, just a small little thank you. But as far as, creating exclusive content for them, I have failed consistently with that, and it's something I'm going to work on, because I appreciate them so much. I mean, you just have no idea.
And
I like Patreon. It's a very good thing.
Okay. And so has So you were mentioning unemployment. That has to do with, is it you being unemployed or family or all the above?
Jason's the family breadwinner. I have no skills basically anymore.
No skill. You lost all your skills?
Yeah, I'm completely unemployable.
Okay.
So now I worked before we moved. We moved to Houston area 4 or 5 years ago. And I worked before then when we lived in Louisiana. But when we moved here, at the time I didn't really need to. It wasn't necessary, which was a blessing.
Yeah.
And then I it's like middle age just hit, and there went my brain. I couldn't do what I did then now to save my life.
Your brain just went away, huh?
It just went away. I was a bookkeeper for 20 years. I couldn't do that now. Literally, if my life depended on it, we would starve. I just lost the ability. But fortunately, during that, shortly after that, I discovered the whole YouTube video thing. And that also does help to supplement our income. So, I am contributing, but I can't support us fully. Jason does that. Okay. And he has been unemployed since last August. Yeah, it's been, 9 months? And we've got about 60 days worth of savings left. And then we are in Screwedville. Let me tell you.
So, in other words, people, all of you out there who are of the praying, sending energy, good thoughts, whatever, that will all be...
virgins. I'm open to all.
Let's not go that far. Let's not go that far, okay?
Whatever it takes.
You're open to the support, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if people are interested in exploring Patreon, you can find that link in the description box below the video. And so
that's very nice. Thank you.
So that's out there too.
That would be great.
So I believe in, I believe in what goes around comes around, in the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so,
it does.
I'm just really, I believe that things all happen for a reason, and sometimes it's like I don't understand the reason. Believe me, I've been down that road. I've been down that road a few times myself. So yeah, that I knew a long time ago, because I'm sure I wrote a book about my family experience of being a caregiver.
Right.
And there were a lot of things that happened during that period of my life that I'm thinking, I am caught in a hurricane of turmoil, emotional turmoil, physical turmoil. It's like, this is, it's never going to end. And I don't understand this. And I don't, all that stuff. And the interesting thing about it was that as time, because, people are always so good about saying, time heals all wounds. And, sometimes you just want to say, and you're going to be late this time healing the wounds, because I just don't think I can hang on much longer, And, and it is amazing how it's amazing how life works. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But I've lived long enough to know that somehow it works. I don't have explanations for things, and we could get into all kinds of philosophical things that, probably better left.
I'm supposed to be doing stuff. I'm just sitting here staring at you.
You're staring at me watching while I'm sitting over here doing all the work all by myself.
I know. I'm just fascinated.
So there's a question in the chat that wants to know, what kind of work that does Jason do?
Just Jason do.
Share what you will.
When we talk, we're always like, remember back when you used to work? Wasn't that awesome?
I know that one of the things that he doesn't do is dental work. I know that. Because he doesn't even deal with dental work very well. And if you haven't seen Shannon's video on videoing Jason after he had dental work done, go look that up, because that is...
That's some awesome cinema right there.
When I need to laugh, I go hunt that video up. I showed it to my granddaughter one day, and I was laughing so hard. I worked myself into I don't even have asthma, and I worked myself into an asthmatic laughing fit. I kid you not, you know.
Oh, that was
and
funny.
the whole time I'm thinking she's going to kill him or he's going to kill her. When he wakes up and knows what's up, he's going to kill her. He is going to kill her. Yeah.
You kidding? I had that sucker uploaded before the anesthesia completely wore off.
That's right.
There was no going back.
That's right. So what kind of work back when he worked, what kind of work did he do?
Back when he used to work, Jason was a supply chain manager, and he's worked for the last 27 years in the oil and gas industry, which, you know, it's known to be feast or famine.
Yeah.
But with supply chain, you know, it doesn't have to be oil and gas. He can do that for any kind of industry. And he has put in for, I'm not exaggerating, hundreds of jobs all over the country, not just in our area, and has gotten less than a handful of interviews, and none of them have worked out.
Wow.
So it is discouraging.
Yeah.
And we have complete faith that this will work out, and it will work out for the best. You know, it will be just exactly what is supposed to happen. But we're kind of sweating bullets until that time.
But it's kind of like, okay, Lord, come on, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's you know, okay, I know you're going to take care of this, but now would be good.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. My favorite question is, when would now be a good time? Okay, you might have to think about that a minute, but you know.
Exactly.
But anyway, okay. So what we're doing now, people, is we're doing collage papers. And so what I did, because I forgot to pull out stuff, you know, it's my show, but I forgot to pull out stuff before we started. And I'm even, you know, we even made this up earlier, like what the order was going to be, and I still didn't get my act together. So,
one of us was prepared.
Yeah, it wasn't me. It was not me. So what I'm using is Tim Holtz tissue paper because I could reach it, and then I have a few things that are in my box of stuff. These are paper bags that had interesting patterns on them, so that's what I'm using. So is Nikki here? Hey, Nikki Beauty Bliss is here. That would be the girlfriend of the technical department.
Hey!
And she wants to know what your channel is, Miss Shannon Green. You want to say what it is? So anybody that, I know the link's in the description, but, you know, let's say it for the record.
If you go to YouTube and you just search for by Shannon Green, ShannonGreen, one word, by Shannon Green, I should pop up. My logo is like an eyeball that's pretty colors.
I love that. It's like my logo is an eyeball, and it is.
It's an eyeball.
Yeah, and it is, and I love that.
And it is. And I have a friend who has that eyeball tattooed on the back of her neck.
You are kidding me.
Yeah, I have. In fact, I have several friends who I've drawn tattoos for, including my own, which is white ink, so I know you can't really see it.
Oh, that's cool.
Almost comes up.
White ink.
I like drawing tattoos.
Well, that's neat. So is that what the eyeball was originally for, or did she...
No, she asked if she wanted she had something on the back of her neck that she got years ago and was not happy with it, and she wanted it reworked, and she asked if she could use one of my doodles.
Yeah, see, that's why I've never had a tattoo. Because
yeah, the change in your mind thing.
I'm afraid the artist would screw it up.
They're pretty darn talented.
Yeah. You know, there's just things about... I have pretty strong faith, you know, but I don't know. I don't think it... I have more faith that Jason's going to get a job than that a tattoo artist, and no offense to anybody watching who is a tattoo artist. I just have watched some programs on failed tattoos one too many times, and I went,
oh yeah, you really have to investigate the artist and make sure.
Yeah. Bye, Jamie. Jamie says she has to go, so APG Jamie's heading out. So yeah. So I didn't even bring over my brush with my my glue brush, so I'm just spreading on I'm using matte medium because it's what I could reach, and I'm using that with a palette knife, and it's working.
Is it working?
It is. It's working. That's pretty cool. It's putting these tissue papers on pretty darn flat, so I gotta say, that's pretty cool. So what kind of collage stuff are you using over there?
Well, I've got some pieces of a torn background. Okay, I was just like, I was
Yes.
playing with some paints the other day and just put them on this piece of random cardstock that was laying around and mixing colors, seeing how they looked. And then, okay, that was okay. So I flipped it over and started doing the same thing on the back.
Okay.
And I had flipped it over onto another piece of cardstock. So, of course, they stuck.
Yeah.
So they weren't completely dry. It was still a little moist. So I just started peeling them apart, and I got some cool peeled pieces.
Oh, that's neat.
And I'm using some of that, and then I've got some napkins, and I've got some book pages and stuff that was just laying around.
And stuff, right?
Stuff.
Dee Dee Willingham said, "This was fun, Barb and Shannon. Thanks for doing it." And she's leaving, so bye, Miss Dee Dee
I'm glad you were here, Dee Dee.
I didn't realize she was here. I missed her. She must have been doing art. That's what she does. She'll turn on, and I do the same thing. I rarely ever have television going when I'm in my studio creative space. I just turn on, either YouTube or Ustream or, YouTube live or recordings or whatever, and just, listen to people talk.
Or you have those conversations with yourself. Because I do that too.
It's that me, myself, and I thing, I got to tell you.
We do. I mean, I ask myself questions and then I answer them.
Yes. And that's kind of scary, but yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one that does that.
I'm right there with you.
I'm kind of liking what this is doing. Are you, you guys that are playing along? Is Kat Hand still here? If you're here, Kat, I want to know, did you get done using your heat gun yet?
She's still drying her layers.
I'm telling you, I got so tickled at her that day. You challenged her to, what did you challenge her to? To be on video or something, right?
To show her face.
That's what it was. Yeah. And she didn't quite follow the rule.
But you know what? She did
funny.
more than I thought she would.
It was funny. That was funny. I had to laugh.
I was expecting her to do oh, heck no. Because it's not easy to do.
No.
It's not. I get it.
And people have to, it seems so easy to other people. I mean, I'm right there with other people going, talking to the camera or talking to recordings and stuff, going, gosh, why didn't you just do this?
Right.
So right about the time I think I'm going to try, I'm going to do that thing that I was telling that person to do that they didn't know I was telling them. I'm going to do that thing, and then you go, ooh, I should have kept my mouth shut.
Yeah.
I should have kept my thoughts to myself, because it's just not as easy as one would think.
No, it's really not.
Crystal says, Shannon, I always enjoy your videos. You make me smile most of the time. And that is a dear gift. Dear, and a big gift for all of us. That is true.
Oh.
That is true.
You know what? It makes me happy to make you happy.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's nothing that floats my boat any more than someone saying, I watched one of your classes or your video or whatever. I watched that thing and I tried it. And my favorite thing is I've never done this before. I didn't think I could do it now. And look what I did, and then they'll tweet me a picture or something. And it's like that is exactly what makes it all worthwhile.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. My granddaughter, who is graduating this weekend, in fact, she's traveling as we are chatting. She's driving.
Oh, exciting.
And she'll be here late tonight. And she's graduating with her master's degree this weekend. And she was going through some, just going to school is stressful, right? So she was going through some stuff. And so I was trying to get her to journal. And I was relatively successful getting her to journal. I mean, it took quite a bit to get her to, to write down stuff. And the way that, one of the things that I told her was, if you don't like it, if you put too much stuff out there and you're like, nah, I shouldn't have, I don't want to ever see that again. I don't want to read that again. I don't want to, or it's just too personal. I'm afraid somebody might see this in the future, and I don't want to do that. And if you're afraid of that, then, black gesso is your friend, because it is really black and it really, blacks out stuff. And so she got to where she was doing that. Well, then I talked her into going with me to some classes at Soul Sentiments. I don't even, that was a book club. They do a book club, which I participate in usually it's a couple times a month. And this book that we're working on this time is Kathy Taylor's Alcohol Ink book, which is anybody that can try to control alcohol ink and make it do certain things in a repeatable fashion. She's
amazing.
I am all over learning from her.
She's incredible.
And so I got my granddaughter to go, and what we did was the Zentangle, one of the Zentangle books. And she locked in to doing some of those Zentangle patterns. And I knew we'd made it the day that I forgot what it was she was doing. It was something that was very, whatever the activity was, it was potentially very stressful. And she told me later, she said, I took my book with me, and she said, I made sure I went early. And so while I was waiting, I was drawing patterns. And she said that really calmed me down. And I thought,
that's awesome.
That is like, if I never influenced another person, anytime, any place, if she was the only one, then it was worth every second of that,
That is so cool.
Yeah, it really was. She is, everybody has stressful things in their lives, and boy, you have to have some way to deal with it, because if you don't, you're going to make some choices that aren't going to give you the results that you're really after.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's highly addictive. Just have to say. Do not ask me how I know that question. I'm not answering a thing. Not answering. This is cool. I really like this, by the way.
Oh, I do too. That's fabulous.
These are really fun. Okay, are you still collaging?
Here's my last piece.
I may be doing more later. I don't know, but
Yeah, I dabbed a little paint here and there. I went back and.
Okay, let's see. Sandy Jones says she'd have a book full of black pages.
One black page.
Sandy Jones. Okay, I have to say this up personal. Sandy Jones, I love you, my friend. You are one of the most honest and funny people on the net. I'm telling you. I just love her. I just love her. She's just always saying something. And then she always says she's the good girl. That's not true. That part's not true, but...
Mm-hmm.
But she tries to convince me that it's true. And Jessica is telling you that she watched your Zentangle Ideas video.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I am so glad.
Let's see. I never did see
I
Kat.
appreciate that.
Okay, Kat said, I said that heat gun thing because of how Jamie says it in her videos. Okay.
Oh, she does the heat gun
Yes,
thing.
yes, she does. Yes, she does.
She cracks me up.
She is funny. She is funny. Okay, I'm just trimming around the edge because I know that some people don't mind if crap hangs off their pages, but I don't
like it?
I don't.
Get rid of it.
I don't, and so I just got to do this thing because I got to have those edges that I don't know why. It's we all have our thing.
That's right.
We all have our thing, and this is one of them. Okay, I have to dry this because I've got like matte medium. I was trying to go very thinly. I still got some. So let me go back here, and you guys can look at it for a second. Let me heat gun it. Let me ask another question. Let's see what question. I've gone through my list. So what else? Oh, I know what. Let's ask the audience and see if they can guess this. Shannon has a name. We're going to find out how closely you guys listen to and watch her videos. Shannon has a name for her people on Patreon. So, does anybody here know what she calls her people that are her Patreon people? Let's see if anybody knows. Sandy Jones is crying. Sandy Jones, don't cry. I meant it. I didn't mean to make you sad. And then she says, hey, you don't know anybody that's as good at being bad like me. Oh, Josie Gitto got a box of goodies from Victor. Victor's been... Shannon?
Victor's awesome.
Shannon, you have some competition from Victor, I see. Just saying. Don't get too jealous.
Well, I'll share in moderation.
Lynn Raleigh says that you call them minions. That wasn't what I was thinking, but that's what she says.
Minions are my YouTube people.
Okay.
She's right about that.
Okay.
But not my Patreon people.
Anybody else have another guess? Cat Hand says she's liking her page. It's turning out to be kind of tropical. Oh, that's cool. I don't know what mine's turned out to be. Mine's just turned out to be kind of a something. I don't know what it is.
Mine's the same thing. It's a something.
And she says it just kind of happened that way. I understand that. Truly. So no other guesses, you guys, for what she calls her Patreon people? She said it in her videos.
I have. Probably more than once.
Yeah. No other guesses? What time is it? We've been doing this for almost 2 hours, Shannon. I think we've done pretty well to get this far in 2 hours. I never get this far when I stream.
And I never do anything for 2 hours in a row.
Yeah, and you don't even get a potty break.
I haven't wandered off or anything.
No.
It's incredible.
Okay, nobody's saying. Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to tell him and see if I'm right. Nobody's saying. Oh, Lynn wants a clue. Do you have a clue? You have to give him a clue because I would just spill the beans.
I will give you a clue.
Because I'm terrible at secrets.
On Patreon, the people who support you are known as your patrons.
Yeah. All right, so there you go.
That's the clue.
And Lori Richardson Haley says, we want a clue too, Lynn.
No, only Lynn gets the clue.
It's right. Thanks, Pam. Pam likes what my sheet's looking like. And Chris is telling you, Shannon, she wants to add that she adores your videos.
Thank you.
Let's see. I made me come to a different world about papers and paints, which I appreciate so much that you changed her world. Isn't that nice? Oh, Carla got it. And then Tam got it right after, and then Kat got it right after that. They guessed.
Yeah, my clue was kind of a giveaway, but what are you gonna do?
It was, but there's only so much creativity left in our brains at this point.
This is true, because do you want to see what I just did?
Yes, I'm gonna put you.
Let me show you my page first.
Whoops, sorry, little flippy, little too.
Are you making me big?
Yeah, you're big now.
Am I big?
Yeah, you're
Can
big.
you see?
You're right. Yes. Oh, cool.
So that's my hot mess, which I love very much.
Yeah.
And I went to put, there was one little strip that I wanted to put up in this corner.
Uh-huh.
I glued it to my drop paper.
It looks very nice, too.
It has
nice.
gel medium below and above. I glued it down really good to the drop paper. Totally missed my sheet.
Well, you did a fine job missing the sheet too.
Yeah, my drop paper will be looking good.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so are we ready to move on to like pens and doodles and stuff like that?
I think so. I'm going to hit mine with the heat gun.
Okay.
You go ahead and start.
All right.
I'm going to give mine a little.
Okay, I'm going to start, and we're going to see what happens. I've got out some fine tip applicator bottles with stuff in them. I've got white and black and turquoise because those are the only three that I've got.
Fine wine bottles. That didn't even cross my mind.
Well, I tend to do that more than I have paint pens. I have an assortment of paint pens over there, but half of them don't work. You know what I mean? So, yeah, half of them don't work. Okay, so I'm going to start playing around with this. So here's mine. Yeah, let me just take me out of the picture. So we'll start from the top. I don't know what the top is. We'll start from one side, and then we'll kind of work down. So what I used on here for my background, I'll recap mine, and then we'll just, kind of go from there. I started out with some basics paints, and I used light blue permanent and brilliant yellow green and bright aqua green. So those were the three paints that I used in the basics line. And then I used this one, which was fluorescent pink in the De La Rowney System 3 paint, and I scraped those on. So that was all I did. This is a test, by the way. This is a big test to see if I can remember what I did, because I've been talking and switching cameras and stuff. So
I couldn't do that.
I remember that part so far. Okay, then we went to stamping. And so I pulled out, I even left them out so you could see them. I pulled out these stamps, and I don't think I used any more than these. So these stamps, these happen to be Stampin' Up! Stamps. And the only reason I have Stampin' Up! Stamps is because I bought them at a garage sale, and I hit this garage sale thing. They actually had it at Soul Sentiments, but it was a garage sale, and there was somebody cleaning out their stamps, and I got them for $1 and $2 a set. And so I bought everything that I thought I would use. So I used these stamps. I know. And I stamped with archival inks in black, and then in deep purple and aquamarine. So that's the next layer that I used. And then after that, I used stencils. So the stencils that I used on here, and I used white paint for this one. This is a Sunburst. Can't remember, Sunburst or Starburst. I forgot what the name of this is. It's the Crafter's Workshop 166 stencil. And I used that in white. And then I did, that's this one that you see, this pattern. And then I used this diamond pattern. And again, I don't remember the name of it, but it is the Crafter's Workshop 202. And I used Americana Scorching Yellow. So that's what I did, and you'll see some of that back in here, maybe a little bit in there. It's sprinkled around, but you can see it really well there. And then I went to this stencil, which is a Dina Wakley stencil, and I've learned to keep the packaging for these stencils, and it's called You Can, YOUCAN. As you can clearly tell, I don't have any packaging for these because I wasn't keeping that back then. It's the bane of my existence now, either to have the packaging or not. But anyway, have the packaging, it requires more storage. If you don't have the packaging, it makes your life more miserable when you have to go looking for things. And so that's what this is, and I stenciled on this with Vivid Violet, Americana Vivid Violet, so you can see some of the words back there. And then after that, I did the collage papers, and I used Tim Holtz tissue paper, and then these are paper bags that I tore up and just kind of spotted around. And my background that I used for me was Canson mixed media paper, and the size that I'm working with is 11 by 7 or 11 by 14. I think it's 11 by 14 because I thought it would fit in the space for you guys to be able to see. So that's what I did.
Good.
Shannon, on the other hand, started out with, what did you call it? It was a flyer? Is that what it was?
Comcast Xfinity junk mail.
Okay, Comcast Xfinity junk mail. Let me put you in the...
90-pound weight.
Okay, 90 pounds.
Really, I don't know.
We're going to call it... Oh, I'm sorry I keep flipping that around.
And it's that glossy. It's a glossy flyer.
Okay. So do you remember what you did?
Okay. I put some paint on.
Okay.
Okay, I used a really scrawny brush like this. And oh, look, it's got some paint still on it, so I'll know what colors I used.
That's good.
Yes, the Americana Dioxazine Purple.
Okay.
The Crafters Acrylic Dark Turquoise.
Mm-hmm. And something else.
Yes, yes. Americana Neons in Thermal Green. And for that, I made dots and then kind of cut through it, you know, that thing with the card.
Cool. Okay.
Okay. What was the next step?
Okay, hold it up again so we can see.
Oh.
Okay. So you've got ink and paint, or paint and inks and stamping. Did you stamp? Did you already go do the stamp?
Yeah, I did the Zetiology Fornacetti face pieces.
Okay. So those are the stamp.
Yeah, and just the weird permanent black.
Okay.
Ink.
Yeah. Weird permanent black that we don't know.
Yeah,
none of us have ever seen since.
Vintage.
And then you did some stencils.
I did the stencils. I had the 3 Tim Holtz, the clock one, and the Harlequin, and the holes.
Yeah, the holy one.
The holy one.
Then were you...
And I used some different things in these because I used more paint. I used some Sizzling Pink Neon in the Harlequin. And I used some DecoArt Media Hansa Yellow Light in the clock one.
How do you like that media line of paint? I've not used that at all.
I'm liking it. This is my first try with it, really.
Now,
and then I used just plain white.
Have you
in the holes.
Have you used the golden fluid acrylics? Have you used any of those?
I have.
So how does it compare to that?
And they're fabulous. And I don't use them very often because they're special.
Yeah. So how does the media line compare to that?
I haven't really tested them side by side. This is the first time I've used the DecoArt media ones.
Okay.
I haven't really done a comparison.
Yeah.
But I should do that.
That would be a good video.
That's a good
You can
plan.
put that. You better write that down so you don't forget.
I'm going to. I never have anything to write with up here. Look, paint pen.
You haven't been watching Dee Dee Willingham very much then, because I'm telling you, that girl can tell you to write it down. I hear her.
Write it down.
There are 2 things that she says that I will never forget. And if you guys do not watch Dee Dee Willingham, let me just say right here, right now, she will tell you, you need to watch her, and she will tell you to write it down, and she will tell you to put like things together. Like with like, and she is correct about that.
That girl knows stuff.
She
Lots
does.
of stuff.
She does. I've lost the lid to my little bottle. Okay.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how that happens. Okay, so that's your collage stuff. So what are you going to use, or have you decided what you're going to use for markers and stuff like that?
Yes. Paint pens.
Paint pens, okay.
I brought my little tote of paint pens up here. And like you, half of them don't work. And I'm pretty sure that everyone's in that same boat. We all own paint pens. They don't work.
Yeah. Well, if you could pick a favorite, do you have one?
Yes, I do.
The ones that work?
The ones that work. They're always winners in my book.
Sandy Jones says, I write it down, then lose the paper I wrote it on.
Exactly. You see, I wrote down that important thing on my drop paper here, which is going to get painted on.
That's right.
I really like the Uniposca paint pens in the one, I think they call it the 1 millimeter. It has the pointy tip on it.
Okay.
And I love that pointy tip. It's not the bullet nib, it's the pointy one.
Okay.
And I have that, and I bought a multicolor pack. I like those.
Uh-huh. Do you buy those locally, or do you always order them?
I almost always order them, get them on Amazon. Now for regular markers, I'm a big fan of the Faber-Castell big brush pit markers.
Yeah.
And I usually pick those up locally at Jerry's Artarama because they have the best price. They're like $4 something.
Oh, Jerry's Artarama. I've never. It's only in my dreams to go to
Oh,
Jerry's Artarama.
they're fabulous.
Yeah, I bet. Okay, so are you just gonna doodle, or have you decided?
Yeah, I'm just gonna doodle, and I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna start doing it and see what happens.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do too. I just see what, I just start playing.
Do stuff and see where it goes.
See what happens, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So far I've used the turquoise. It's my cobalt. It's the last bit of my, I might have enough for one more bottle, fine line bottle full of the golden cobalt turquoise.
The coveted cobalt turquoise.
Boy, I had no idea they were getting rid of that when I saw that on, actually I saw it on Blix when I was trying to order something else. And I had no idea that they were getting rid of that. They had such a good price on it. I bought it myself one big bottle. And then I found out they were getting rid of it, and I'm like,
dang.
Yeah, exactly. Dang is right. Yeah, dang. So let's see. So I've done turquoise and I've done white, and so I've just sort of made these flower shapes in the background. That's all I've done at this point.
I like that.
Because all I'm not after any kind of specific image on what I'm doing. I'm just going for, whatever the background stuff is. So
just doodly.
Yeah. And so one of the things that I tend, we all end up with marks that are kind of, kind of the, I don't know if it's signature marks, but, there's those things that you can see that people are having trouble. Whoops.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
But you have certain things, at least I do, that almost always show up in what I do. It's like it's kind of like your handwriting, where you go, oh yeah, I did that. Nobody else did that. I did that because it's kind of like my handwriting. It always shows up. And these little squiggles go in different directions are kind of one of those things for me. I don't know why I use them, but I do, and I kind of enjoy having them in my stuff, So yeah, so and when you're doing papers like this, these big collage-y papers, you want to, at least for me, I find that if I keep turning them around and squinting. For me, that's another thing that helps. If I squint, then I can see where there's blank spots, because I'm trying to get kind of an overall piece of paper, overall design, because I'm going to cut it up and see what happens after I cut it up. And I think Dina Wakely calls doing this, one of her pet names for it is puke on a page. And,
that's fun.
And you can use punches, you can use die cuts with a page like this. And, as long as you've got enough pattern sprinkled around the page, no matter where you cut it or, no matter what you make out of it, where you punch it or whatever, you get, bits and pieces of all the different layers. And you may not get all the colors if you've done what I did, which I have, a concentration of this pink over in this one section. But you can cut things out and you get some just really fun, little bits and pieces of things that go on. So Patty Tolley Parrish is also on YouTube, and she streams on Ustream, and she does wonderful things like this. That
she's amazing.
She really is, and she makes these incredible pieces of papers of all different kinds of art. And then she cuts them up and includes them when you buy some of her, I think it's her stamps that she sells herself. And so she can cuts them up and makes them into just these wonderful pieces of little miniature pieces of her art, I guess is the way to say it. So anyway, Sandy Jones has to go. Thank you for joining us.
See ya, Sandy.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. I am doodling with the fine liner bottles, and it's just filled. What I have in these, other than the turquoise one is cobalt teal from the golden fluid acrylics. What's in these is Createx airbrush paint. So that's what's in these.
That's something I've really not used, airbrush paint.
I don't know why I had it, but I have several colors of it. So apparently at some point I was going to, really do something with it.
You had a plan.
I do have an airbrush, but I've not used them very much. So I've not used it very much, I should say. But I do have some airbrush paint. One time, the technical department, aka Race, and I were going to produce a teddy bear pattern together. In fact, I did all the work on the pattern, and one of the things we were going to do was airbrush, show people how to airbrush the fabric, the fake fur that we were doing, and so we were going to do that, but I don't know, I got sidetracked. I have a short attention span. It happens to I hope it happens to somebody else. I hope I'm not the only one it happens to.
Well, it happens to me, but I'm not sure that's going to make you feel any better.
It does. It truly does. Okay, well, I'm getting close to being done with this. And we're gonna be signing off here pretty quickly. So does anybody else have questions or comments that you want to pass along to Shannon or to me, either one? If you do, stick them in the chat, because we're gonna be taking out of here pretty quick. Shannon, you're rubbing off on me, I'm telling you. It's either you or Jeff Foxworthy. I'm not sure which.
Yeah, well, we're practically the same.
You're best friends. Okay, Margaret wants to know Dee Dee's channel. Look up Dee Dee Willingham, and it's Dede Willingham, which is Willingham. Did I spell that right? Willingham, I think.
Sounds good to me.
And look her up, and you can find her on Ustream. Also, she streams over on Ustream, and she does that on Monday mornings and Wednesday, a lot of times on Wednesday, and she is Inkwell. It's either Inkwell or Inkywell over there, and I can't remember which. So yeah, okay, I'm going to put this dot here. Beverly says, this has been the best vacation day I've taken in a long time. Thanks to you both. Well, good, Beverly.
Woo-hoo! Awesome.
Yeah, that is great. That just warms your heart when you know that you made somebody smile and have a good day.
Absolutely.
And don't you know, I can't get, there it is. Victor says he wants me to do more meetings with Shannon. I don't know. Is the world ready for this? Is the world ready for this? Yes.
I don't know about that.
And anybody who has taken pictures of what they've done, if they want to tweet them to me, I'll share them on Twitter. And you can tweet them at Barb Owen Designs. That's where you can follow me on Twitter. And that's the best way to share stuff with me, is on Twitter. And it's also the best way for you to find out, because I at least always try. Sometimes the sponsors take over when it comes to, doing my Twitter thing before I stream. Sometimes the sponsors take over and they commandeer the account and they tweet, so I don't always get to tweet my own stuff, because sometimes the sponsors do it, and I don't know how they do it since they don't have thumbs, but, that's what they do. That's what they do.
There you go.
I don't know how it happens. So I'm going to just hit this with a heat gun here for a second. And of course, speaking of the sponsors, we have to, let them come out, because they always have to close the show unless I forget them, and then I pay for it later. Because I either get in trouble with the sponsors or I get in trouble with people. So while I'm chatting about this, just so you know, for any of you that are joining me today and you've never been here before, or you haven't been around me before, you can check out HowToGetCreative.com. That's my website. And I do have a membership website which has all kinds of classes It is a monthly membership, and we're constantly making new changes and new updates and new things going on there. And so you're welcome to come over there. There's a video that you can click on it, and it will tell you all the details. And I'd love for you to try it out. We do have a $1 trial, so you can try it for a month for $1. If you decide you don't like it, no harm, no foul. You can say, thanks, but I'm, taking off. If you like it, you can stay with us, and we'd love to have you do that. So there's different levels of the membership, and you're welcome to check that out if you like. Okay. Let's see, what else? You can tell I've been talking nonstop because my voice is now going, Let me get a drink. See if I can get the... I just need the throat to last just a little bit longer. Okay, so here is, just from a distance, because sometimes it works better if you look from a distance. There's the sheet that I've created so far. Kat says this is the first time she's participated on a stream, and she had a blast. So that's great. That's great. And Ruth said she loves playing along. It was great. And she said, thank you, Shannon, and thank you, Barb. Or you can turn it around and you look at it, the other way around. So it's kind of...
So when you do an abstract like that, you don't automatically see a right side up or upside down?
I try not to, because when I'm working on it, if I don't know whether I had it on camera or not, but I try to continually rotate it all the time. Yeah. So whatever step I'm doing, I keep trying to rotate it so I don't end up with a right side up. That doesn't mean it doesn't all, that sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens because I find that when I lay it on the table, I'll unconsciously flip it around so that it's in the right side up orientation. Exactly. But when I purposely want to cut it up, or I may save this and do a book cover with it. And if I'm going to do that, then, I try really hard not to make it have a right side up. What about you?
Right. Mine, I don't put everything on there right side up. Stuff is upside down and skewed. Uh-huh. The overall page, it to me, early on, it develops this is right side up.
An orientation, yeah.
Yeah. And when I turn it, it's just not right.
I understand. Well, Shannon, thank you so much for doing this and for spending your afternoon. I'm glad you had a good time. I had a blast. And thank you for answering my questions, because it's all the stuff I've been wondering about.
Now you know.
I know the rest of the story. And so with that, I'm going to say thank you so much. And show us your thing first. We got to do that.
Show you my thing.
Oh yeah, wait.
I am going to cut mine up. So I made it to where it'll have little swirlies on each piece that I cut.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, I love the swirlies. That's great. That is perfect.
So fun.
Oh, good. Well, this was good. This was really cool. I really enjoyed it. All right, I'm going to let you go, and then I will bring out the sponsors, and we'll close the show out. So, thank you so much for doing it, and I will talk to you another time.
Thank you for having me. Yes, thank you for having me, and thank you to everyone who showed up to watch.
Yeah, me too.
Appreciate that. This was so fun.
Good. All right, we'll see you again. All over the place, you know what I mean?
Pretty much.
We'll see you wherever you are.
Wherever.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. All right. So here we are, you guys. Let me get the sponsors, and then we're going to call it a day, everybody. And you guys have been great. You've asked some great questions. You've been really patient with us as I have kind of fumbled around some of the technology. But anyway, sponsor time. Oh, here we go. Here they come. Oh, boy, he shot out of that room like a cannon. Are you coming up? You coming up to say hello? Huh? You coming up? Come on. Come on. Come here. You gotta help me say goodbye. You gotta help me say goodbye. Here we go. He hadn't gotten a bit lighter since last time he was on. not a bit lighter. Yeah, here he is. This is a chance in case anybody happens to be like never been here before and has never seen. This is one of the sponsors of the show. And yeah. I have another sponsor of the show. She's a little black dog named Muppet, and she is wandering around on the floor wondering why she's not up here instead of this wretched feline, because she would far rather be up here. Oh, here comes Charlie. All right. You coming up too? Where are you? There you go. All right. Come here, Charlie. Come on. Oh, come here. Ugh. He's just like trying to handle a water weenie. Well, water balloon is what I should say. Oh, here we go. Up close and personal, everybody. Chance always shoots out of the room like a cannon, I'm telling you. Yeah, so there are the boys. So thank you, everybody, so much for spending the day with us, the afternoon. And again, I thank Shannon so much because that was really fun. And she was gracious and willing to play along with the with whatever happened. She was just willing to do whatever. So that's the fun part. All right, we're going to go, and I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I will be spending the weekend watching the festivities of a graduation, and I am so excited to do that. So it's going to be great. All right, so it's great to see you guys. I hope you have, like as I said, have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week. I have no idea what we're going to do, but it'll be something hopefully fun and creative. So I'll see you next Friday, same time, same place on Drama Free Friday. And so far, Friday the 13th has proven to be drama free. So that's great. All right, I will see you all later. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye for now. Remember to get creative today because you know it's easy. Bye.